Hey everybody, my name is Joshua Palmatier and I am the founder of the small press Zombies Need Brains. We specialize in producing science fiction and fantasy themed anthologies, and every year we run a Kickstarter in order to fund those anthologies. So right now we're running a Kickstarter for 3 new anthologies, and today here we have Andy to talk about not just being in one of the anthologies, but he's actually been, or if this Kickstarter funds, he'll have been in 5 of our anthologies. So he's got a lot of experience with Zombies Need Brains. So for this Kickstarter, if you want to take a gander at it, just check out the URL tinyurl.com/ZNB2021. Okay, so that's tinyurl.com/ZNB2021. We're trying to fund 3 new anthologies. One of them is called Brave New Worlds that I'm going to be editing. It's about stories along the path of us reaching for the stars. The second anthology is called Shattering the Glass Slipper. It's supposed to be upended, twisted, gender-bent fairy tales. And then the third anthology, which Andy's going to be in, if it funds, is called Noir. And there's a special reason why Andy is an anchor author for Noir, but I'll get to that in a little bit. First, why don't you introduce yourself, Andy, and tell us a little bit about like your websites, where we can buy your stuff, all that kind of stuff.
Well, my name is Andrija Popovic. Most folks call me Andy. By day, I have regular customer service job like everyone else. By night and on the weekends, I am an author. You can find me at my website, which is Biomechanoid Blues, as in the blues sung by biomechanoids, .wordpress.com. You can also find me at Twitter as Andrian6. It's ANDRIAN and the number 6. And I also do have a video blog on YouTube. So if you check out my name or look for Biomechanoid Blues, you'll find it there. As for my publications, I've got a credits spot on my blog for myself and for another pen name that I have, which writes more on the the romance side of things. So
I'm shocked. I did not know.
Still waters run deep, yeah.
Well, it's good to know because, zombies might venture into a little bit of romance for themes in the future, probably more like paranormal romance or something along those lines with something with a heavy SF and F component to it. But so yeah, good to know. So as I mentioned earlier, you showed up in Zombies Need Brains anthologies essentially through the slush pile. So just in case people don't know, for all of the Zombies anthologies, we always run an open call for submissions where anyone can submit their story to any of our anthologies. Okay, obviously as long as it fits the theme. Okay, and we read everything that comes in and sort of comb through it and look for the stories that we think will best fit that particular anthology. And the term that we tend to use in publishing for that is the slush pile. So Andy came to us through the slush pile essentially for 4 different anthologies. What was the first one that you ended up in?
So the first one was Alien Artifacts. Which I believe was you and Patricia who were editing that one. And that one in specific, I saw the open call and especially the cover that you guys had for it. Yes. And if folks haven't seen some of the covers for the Zombies Need Brains anthologies, go see them and then go to the website and pick up the prints because they deserve to be enshrined on a wall somewhere. But yeah, I was inspired by that and I decided to submit. I've been trying to get into a few places. I had gotten some flash fiction published in daily science fiction, and I was looking to honestly get back into things after, frankly, being quiet for 10 years since the last time I'd gotten anything in print.
I know you were in Death of All Things, even though I did not edit that one. That was Lorianne Gilman and Kat Richardson editing that one. So, but that's where your name showed up for the second time. And at that point, I would have to say, as an editor and the founder of Zombies Need Brains, at that point, you know, I would notice if I opened up a file to read from the slush pile and it had your name on it. So it made me pay more attention, because, you know, at that point you'd already been in a couple. And so your name was on my radar, and I know you were in two other ones. What were the other two?
So the other ones I was in was in Portals, and most recently in Derelict, which I was also especially chuffed about because it was my first book that featured a skeletal astronaut on it. And having grown up, you know, looking at like the covers of like James P. Hogan's, you know, Gentle Giants books, you know, an astronaut, a skeleton in a spacesuit is a big deal for a certain generation. And that was, I was like, you know, very, very proud of that. But yeah, I managed to get in there and you know, find places within those anthologies.
And we should probably mention at this point, since you brought up the cover art, all of our cover art, except for our very first anthology, all of our cover art has been done by Justin Adams of Varia Studios. So if people are looking for potential artists for covers, I would definitely suggest checking out Justin Adams. He has to do stuff for zombies first, but but yes, the cover, he does spectacular cover art for us. Yeah. So yes, what happened was, like I said, your name was on my radar even before the last two, even before Derelict and Portals, before you showed up in those anthologies. So your name was on my radar, and I believe you had friended me on like Facebook and whatnot. So I had some things popping up in Facebook that you were posting, and one of the things I noticed that you were posting was you were watching all these noir movies, and you were commenting on the noir movies. And so when we came to this particular anthology, that initially it wasn't called Noir, it was, I can't even remember what the other name was, but the problem with the previous name was that it suggested only science fiction. And Zombies doesn't like to do, in general, doesn't like to do like strict sci-fi or strict fantasy anthologies. We liked a little more variety. So when I approached John Zakor, who is the one that proposed the idea, when I approached him and said, you know, Zombies kind of wants to do this anthology, but I would want to expand it to include fantasy as well. That he agreed, and so we kind of ditched that old title and came up with the Noir. And the minute we came up with Noir, I was like, okay, your name popped to mind. And we, at that point, obviously, we knew that you could produce, you know, a good story. And it wasn't that you were consistently producing good stories, because you'd already shown up in 4. So so at that point, I suggested your name to the two editors when we were trying to come up with our initial invite list. And I kind of figured you would say yes if we invited you. So I was crossing my fingers.
A little bit of a hedged bet there, yeah.
Yeah, not only because you'd already been in Zombies anthologies before, but because I knew you had this association, at least, with some noir, and so that's how you came to be an anchor author. So let it be known, if you submit to the slush pile and your name catches our attention, you can eventually get bumped up to anchor author status. So keep that in mind for all you writers out there that might be submitting.
Also helps to have an unhealthy obsession with shadowy streets and chiaroscuro lighting. So at least in this case.
Do you have a stiletto?
Yes. Mostly for opening paperwork.
Yes, yes.
But I do actually have an old school fedora from the company that produced them for Humphrey Bogart back in the day. And I may have worn it to one or two Noir City festivals over at our local AFI. So yeah, it was pretty much kismet that this came up, especially at the time that it did, because I was literally putting in an order for a new edition of kind of like one of the definitive guides to film noir by the man who started the Film Noir Foundation when that email hit, and I was like, this is meant, yes, absolutely, yes.
Meant to be. Well, you should have brought the fedora and worn it during this interview here. So what I'd like to ask you is, and you can basically take this wherever you feel is just, go into your experience with submitting to the slush pile. Tell us what you felt like when you got asked to be an anchor author, and maybe pass on some advice for all the writers out there that might be thinking about submitting to Zombies.
Yeah, no, sure. Well, first, how did I feel when I was asked to be an anchor author? I felt like I was in the opening musical number for the Great Muppet Caper, where they were going, "It's a movie starring everyone and me," and that was very much how I felt. I saw these amazing names and me. So that was a great feeling, and it did have me thinking about sort of the times that I had been submitting, not only to Zombies Need Brains, but also other places as well, and how being consistent and keeping at the grind was important. Because for all the times I have been in the anthologies, I've also had my fair share of times of, hey, this story doesn't quite fit in some of the ones that I've submitted to, and I've certainly gotten those when submitting to other places. So I think the key first is persistence. Sometimes it is meant to be, and it's a good fit, and everything kind of clicks. Sometimes not so much. It could be just a hair's breadth. Sometimes stories will find a home, and sometimes they don't. One of my personal stories I'm still trying to find a home for involves Richard Nixon's Robot Army and the band that invented punk without really knowing it in Detroit called Death. And I'm still trying to see where that one can end up, but didn't quite make it into the anthology I submitted to, and we're still going. So I think that's the first thing anybody who's submitting needs to know. It's persistence and professionalism, and not taking it personally. It is very easy to get discouraged when you do get those rejection notices. But you have to remember, there are hundreds of people who are submitting to anthologies, and more that are submitting to magazines as well, especially with the boom that has taken place now that we've gotten digital magazines. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but you keep at it and you keep moving on from there. So that's the other thing, just persistence, professionalism, avoid rejectomancy. I don't know if you've heard that one before. But,
I've heard of the term, yes.
Yeah, but for those who may not be familiar, rejectomancy is the arcane art of looking at a form rejection and trying to divine, some more depth behind it there. It's like, oh, wait, they said this particular sentence about it, or it looks like they added something to the form. Does that mean I got into the second tier? And that sort of thing. You can drive yourself up the wall, trying to make mass divinations out of that sort of thing.
And I should mention here that you should definitely not try rejectomancy with Zombies Need Brains, because we have two letters. One is yay, we want your story, and the other one says sorry, we just didn't fit. And that's it. We don't have any level thing else going on there.
But yeah, I mean, so that's the other thing. And I think the last thing I can really say is don't hold yourself back when you're writing these stories. I mean, there are, for my, the story that I submitted for the Death of All Things, and especially the story I submitted for Portals, I honestly thought to myself, this is a bit out there. I mean, I don't know if anybody's going to get this, but I said, no, look, I'm just going to write this. This story feels like it needs to be told, and they made it in. So if you're going to go out there, be as yourself as you can. Don't say to yourself, no, this ain't going to work. I've got to write for this. But no, write the story that you can tell, that's close to you, and your belief and passion will show through. If it doesn't work, then at least it's not working while you're still being true to yourself and not trying to write to a market. Different than writing to a theme.
Yeah. I mean, obviously for us, you're writing for a theme, but you want to write the story that excites you.
Yeah.
Because like you said, we pick up on that when we're reading the story. If we can, we will be able to tell that you were excited about writing this story.
Oh yeah, no.
You mentioned along the way that you've written for, obviously you've written for Zombies Need Brains. And Zombies tends to like more developed and longer stories. Like our average length is probably around 6,000 words. But you mentioned that you've also written for much shorter markets, like daily science fiction and stuff like that. So do you have any advice for writing different types of lengths?
So similar things, but with flash fiction is almost like writing a bit more like poetry. It's about trying to capture like a small moment that takes place, and the story that's held within that. So in some ways, the flash fiction is more challenging in some ways than actually writing short stories, because it is. I mean, it's like writing haiku. Good haiku when you see it, but you also know really, really bad haiku when you see it. And the same with poetry. So, but I do, encourage folks, find the length that fits that particular story and what impacts it the most. And sometimes that is, a brief moment. I've sold flash fiction, for a romance anthology, not published yet, but it will be out in the world, and that worked well. I've sold a longer short story, a little shorter than a zombies one, but still a longer one for another romance anthology, and that fit there. I was the only person with science fiction elements in their short story, but I think that got folks' attention a little bit more than just some of the standard stuff that was there. So it's about sort of finding the right length and home for the story that you need to tell. And I mean, I'm like everyone else. I'm working on a longer novel. I have 3 loved but retired novels that I tried selling at this point. I've got a 4th that I'm in first draft revisions on, actually based on some of the folks that I wrote about in the Death Anthology. So I'm trying. I have a story that I think will fit there, and I'm working to expand that as well. So it's about finding the right rhythm, cadence, and space for it, and when it clicks, you'll kind of know it.
Yeah, and I will totally agree with that advice, because trying to write something and making it fit into the 1,000 word box when it really, really, really wants to be 6,000 words, you don't want to struggle with that.
Yeah, I had a very kind note from someone when I submitted what I thought was a short story to him, and he said, "This is great. Looking forward to reading the rest of the novel that goes with it." And so but that's sometimes the way it is. It's about finding that, and that's usually time, experience, and getting a chance to understand the story.
Yeah, Yeah, I have certainly committed that where I've written a short story and it's been published, but while I was writing it, I was like, this wants to be something a lot longer.
Absolutely.
And it comes through. I mean, I know from reading the slush pile that there are certain stories where we read it and our note, when we write our little notes to the other editor, note will be, this wants to be something bigger. And or our note could say, this story could be done in half the time. So, you don't want to bloat it out either. Write the length the story wants to be. That's very good advice. So anyway, any idea if we get funded what your story is going to be about for this?
Well, given that I kind of already have a first draft done, yes. And pardon for the but yeah, can you tell I'm a little excited about this? But yeah, no, I already do. It is the brief preview is that there is a strain of film noir that focuses around sort of embittered journalists, pounding the streets late at night, and I'm picking up a little bit of that and adding an urban fantasy twist to it as well. So I'm hoping it'll catch an eye. But this one I've already got a first draft in. I'm working on it right now, and it's one of those things where I have to remind myself, listen, I'm at my day job. I really can't open up Scrivener and start putting notes in as much as I want to. But I'm looking forward to getting it to the editors and seeing what they have to say. And that's one thing I will say for the folks who do submit into the open call and do get to work with the editors is the folks Zombies Eat Brains bring on are amazing. I mean, I have kept all of the drafts that have markup and notes from them, from David Moran Gilman, Kat Richardson, because I have learned so much from that process. Each time around, you see a better author. A good editor is worth their weight in platinum. And that's always a joy to work with, and I love the collaborative spirit as well. So for anybody, when we do get funded, I'm not going to say if, I'm going to say when we do get funded. If you do get into the anthologies, you're going to have a really great experience, and you're going to learn something.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you for that. That's good to know. We try our best. So yeah, if we get funded, but not just if, when we get funded, okay, everybody's a lot more confident about the whole funding thing than I am in general. I'm on the needles until we actually hit that mark.
Yeah, we're here to be the cheerleaders here, customer service face, relentless positivity.
Yeah. So if you want to help us get funded, again, the URL for that is tinyurl.com/ZNB2021. We have a ton of great reward levels left to grab, including things like Tuckerizations, signed books. We even have some swag levels left from various authors, both past and present. And so go ahead, check out the website and fund. Pledge, please.
Indeed.
We're getting close. So we need to get over that mark, though, in order to produce these anthologies. So check out the webpage. Okay, I want to thank Andy for being here with us and chatting a little bit about his experience with zombies and what
Thank you
for the Noir anthology. So why don't you remind us of your web pages here again?
So my main webpage is biomechanoidblues.wordpress.com. So that's biomechanoid as in eager and blues as in blues player. You can also find me under that name in my video blog on YouTube. My Twitter handle is Andrian6. That's ANDRIAN and the number 6. So if you're up late on a Saturday night and you're looking to see some interesting commentary on whatever film noir Turner Classic Movies is showing, join me there. It'll be an experience there, and you'll get to see some great stuff. But yeah, that's where folks can find me.
Great. Hope everybody checks that out. And especially all the noir enthusiasts. So back to Kickstarter and then go talk to Andy or watch Andy.
We're counting on you, Noiristas. Yep.
Okay, again, thank you for being here and chatting with us. And hopefully I'll be able to read your stories sometime soon.
Oh yeah, definitely. Looking forward to this.
Thank you everybody for stopping by. And again, check out that Kickstarter. Back.
Yep.
Catch everybody later.
Take care.